Hi everyone, welcome to the first tutorial for the PSOSM course. Today we will be learning how to prepare a system for collecting data from Facebook and Twitter. You must have gone through some of the basics of the social networks that we are looking at in this course. Now this tutorial will guide you to how to prepare your system for collecting data from social networks. Now the most convenient way to do this is to use Linux, and we'll start by learning how to install Linux on your system, and we'll be using Python programming language for the entire course to perform all our data collection tasks. So we will also be learning to install some basic Python packages that will help you during the course to collect data and make it easier for you to do this. Now for this tutorial I'll be showing you how to install Ubuntu version 14.04 in a virtual environment. Now if you already have Ubuntu on your computers, you may choose to skip this part of the tutorial. To start with, you need two pieces of software with you. First, a software to run a virtual machine, and second, the Ubuntu operating system. Now the software we will be using are not dependent on the operating system, so no matter what platform you're using, Windows or Mac, you should be able to do it. If you're using Linux already, like I said, you can just skip this tutorial. So let's get to it. Let's download the Virtualbox first. All you have to do is go to virtualbox.org. Once you're there, you'll find a download button. Just click on the button and it'll take you to the page where you have different versions of the Virtualbox to download. Now there are multiple versions here for Windows and for OS X, for all kinds of operating systems that are there. Just download the one that you need. I'll be running this software on Mac, so I'll be downloading the Mac version. Once you have the software with you, now you need to download the Ubuntu operating system. So just open up Google and type Ubuntu 14.04. We're using this version because it's very widespread, it has good support. 16 is fairly new, so we'll stick to something which is already being used. Now again, there are a couple of versions here, desktop versions and server versions. We will use the desktop version, so the 64-bit one. It's about a 1 GB software. Again, I've downloaded it already, so I'll skip the downloading part. Now once you have both the software, you first install Virtualbox. It's very easy to install Virtualbox on any platform. You just open the file and you'll see a package installer. You double click it, it'll show up a window. You just click continue a couple of times. Then it will ask you what location do you want to install the software. So we'll be installing it for all users on the system. You click all users, you click install, it will ask you for an administrator password. Key in your password, press enter, and that's all you need. So once the installation is complete, you should see VirtualBox in your applications. Go to your applications, click on it, and the VirtualBox software should open. So once it opens, you just click on new to create a new virtual environment. This will ask you for a name. We just put in Ubuntu, and it already selects Linux, and the version that we are using is Ubuntu 64-bit. Then you press continue. You can customize how much RAM you want for the virtual machine. For us, we'll be using 1 GB. That's usually sufficient for an Ubuntu. Now you also need some hard disk space for this virtual machine. So you just go with the flow and click the defaults that are ticked. Now we are creating a virtual hard drive now. When you click create, it will ask you for a format. Now let it be the default. We'll use VirtualBox disk image, the one that's checked by default. You click continue and it will give you another option whether you want this disk to be fixed sized or dynamically allocated. It doesn't usually matter unless you're really playing around with your hard drive, so we let it the default value. Next, it will ask you for a folder where you want to store your virtual image. Now again we'll let this to be default. This dialog box will also ask you what size of hard disk space you want for the virtual machine. 8 GB is usually good since we'll be installing some packages and the operating system itself takes some space. Of course you can increase it if you want. Now once this is done, you can see the virtual machine created and powered off, the third one in the window. Now just before you power on your virtual machine, we'll just have a look at the settings. We need to make sure that the internet is running on your virtual machine because you'll need to install packages from the internet. So we click on settings and we go to network. At this network part, you just make sure that this checkbox saying enable network adapter is ticked and you select NAT amongst the drop box which says attached to. You click OK and then you click start. Now as soon as you click start, the virtual machine will ask you for an image that you need to give it for the virtual machine to run. Now remember, we have not instructed the virtual machine to run the Ubuntu software that we just downloaded. We've just given it the name. So now it's time that we give it the image that we downloaded. So you click on the folder on the right and it'll give you an option to select the image file that you want to give it. You select the Ubuntu 14.04 ISO that we just downloaded and click start. Now on the default screen, the first screen is to select a language. We select English and we press enter. Now we want to install Ubuntu, so we go to install Ubuntu and we press enter. Now while you're installing this virtual machine, while you are in your virtual machine environment, you'll see a lot of these messages coming up on top of the window. You just cancel all these messages one by one. These are just indicating that the virtual machine has detected your keyboard and your mouse pointer. So installing Ubuntu is a kind of a time consuming task. It usually takes about 30 minutes or so. So we'll just be skipping to the main options. The rest of it is just waiting for files to get copied. If you've ever installed an operating system, you will know this is the standard way any operating system is installed. Now again, a bunch of default options. You say English and you press continue. Then this page will tell you the what all you need for the best results. Given that we already set the defaults, make sure that your laptop is plugged into a power source. We already set 8 GB space for this virtual machine and we have the internet connected. Now we don't really need to install additional updates or third-party software for our tasks, so we just leave these boxes unchecked and we click continue. Now this part is slightly complex, so you simply follow the instructions. Now click something else in these options and click continue. Now on this page, click the new partition table button. Now when you click this button, you will see a warning. Just click continue and you will see free space of the 8 GB size that we allocated the virtual machine. Now what you have to do is click this free space and click on the plus button on the left. Now the first partition we will create will be a 1 GB partition called the swap space. This swap space is essentially the same size as the RAM that you have allocated the virtual machine. So we'll change the size to be 1024 and from the drop down menu in the use as section, we'll select the swap area and click OK. Now if you see in the type, we already have 1023 MB allocated to swap. For the remaining free space, you choose this free space and click the plus sign again. Leave the use as section to be ext4 journaling file system the default, and in the mount point drop down, choose slash and click OK. So we have successfully created the two partitions. Select the device with the type ext4 and you will observe that the format checkbox is already ticked. Click install now. So now we are pretty much over with the complicated part. The next steps will be just selecting your time zone. So it automatically detects your time zone to be Kolkata, India. We say continue. Now it will ask you to select the keyboard that you have. We leave it to be English US. Now this is where you need to key in the name of your computer. So for this example, I'll just use my name. Once you type in your name, your computer's name and a username is already picked. All that's left is for you to choose a password. And you say continue. And we wait. Now this entire process from here for copying files will take about 15 to 20 minutes. We'll just skip this waiting part and we'll go where the next step needs to be taken. Now once all the copying is complete, you will see this message which says installation is complete, and you click on the restart now button. Now when you restart your virtual machine, it will show up some messages. It will power off first, it will power on again, and you should be ready to use your Ubuntu 14.04 desktop version. We learned some of the basics about Ubuntu using the terminal and using Python on Ubuntu in the next video.